I have several peculiarities as a director. One of them is we do not change dialogue once the picture starts. And I will not have the actor say, can I say it my way? Not a syllable is changed. You can take All About Eve off the screen, and it's a script, syllable for syllable.
Eve. Eve, the golden girl, the cover girl, the girl next door, the girl on the moon. Time has been good to Eve. Life goes where she goes. She's been profiled, covered, revealed, reported, what she eats and what she wears and whom she knows and where she was and when and where she's going.
Miss Davis, ever since I've been on this set, I've heard nothing but discussion of Eve. May I have your opinion of her?
The golden girl, the cover girl, the girl next door, the girl on the moon. Time's been very good to Eve. Life goes where she goes. She's been profiled, covered, revealed, reported, what she wears and when, whom she knows and where she was and when and where she's going.
The Hollywood tradition, formed in the studio era, has been revitalized again and again by each new generation of American filmmakers. It's a tradition that's prospered because of its unique ability to absorb and utilize different styles of filmmaking.
We were really influenced by this, all of the European films that were happening.
We had, the French and Italian New Wave, and they were trying to express new ways to write with a lens, to find a new vocabulary.
At that time, the whole idea of not seeing who was talking or beginning a scene before another scene was over with, or flash cuts in the middle of a scene, all these techniques, they'd been in foreign films. When I first started to work on They Shoot Horses, Don't They, I had to try to find a visual approach for the film that allowed the maximum amount of freedom. And I took lessons every lunch hour on how to roller skate. And I could hold the camera, and I roller skated with the group of people.
There's a pilot in the back corner.
It was a way for me to get right in among the people, to get closer and tighter and to be a part of them. I could actually skate in among them. I could retreat backwards in front of them, or I could move forward with them. I could get over their shoulders and be right in the crowd, so to speak.
I was so enamored of the Eisenstein editing, the montage, and Podofkin, and I would play in my NYU, would play and make up images that way and make them up in my head and draw the pictures and figure out how many frames I'd have to shoot and where I'd have to cut. And sure enough, a lot of that worked. You see a lot of that in Raging Bull.
I think in the more formal days, they didn't do what we would now call an extreme MTV cutting. Psycho was a very big revolution in cutting for certain scenes, like the shower scene. I was very influenced by all of those films which had editing that was not the standard classical form, because they were exciting.
At the level of style, I would say that the biggest change has come from a generation of directors who have tried to blend or fuse the traditions of Hollywood with traditions borrowed from European art cinema.
Roman Polanski was one of the leading European directors of the 1960s. Many foreign directors came to America to try their hand at a Hollywood picture. They brought a foreign sensibility, but expressed it in the classic Hollywood style. Chinatown, one of the most admired films of the 1970s, adheres to the Hollywood style with its strong storyline told from the perspective of the central character.
Okay, pal, let's have us a big smile.
My fight during the work on the script, took some 8 weeks, was to simplify it and to make it a personal story.
Roman is just spectacular in terms of insisting that the narrative be lucid.
The basic action in Chinatown is very simple. It's called Find the Girl, and it's very clear because in a scene it's actually said, just find the girl.
I'll look into it.
The film, it's presented as a subjective description. I mean, whatever you see from his point of view. I wanted the audience to feel with the detective as though they were investigating themselves, as though they were the invisible witnesses of what's happening, peeping over his shoulder. I do a lot of camera movements now. I make very complicated scenes and stagings, but I try to make it the way so you're not aware of it. It serves the purpose of the scene.
Chinatown is a very skillful updating of a tradition that does go back some way in the Hollywood cinema. I might also add that, to a large extent, the Hollywood cinema of the 70s and 80s is characterized by a very strong self-consciousness of the old Hollywood. If one had to characterize a major trend of the 70s and 80s American studio cinema, it is a very strong awareness of the classical Hollywood tradition.
I wanted to bring back some of the virtues that I had seen not only in literature and drama, but in earlier American films.
Where was I? Where was I?
Movies you're seeing, you're very intimate with the characters. You can see them in a private moment. You see how they react to what's going on around them. And sometimes just the way a person walks is more powerful than anything he says or does in the movie.
My name's Davis, building 78. The whole building. You should stop by. I think I have something for you.
It's the greatest town on earth. Go left here. Where was I?
The thing about writing and film directing is that you are presenting a view of the universe. You know, each time, every scene, every line, every time you put the camera down anywhere, you're saying, here's a version of the universe that as I perceive it.
Mac, you ever seen a movie called Sullivan's Travels?
No.
That's part of your problem, you know. You haven't seen enough movies. All of life's riddles are answered in the movies. It's a story about a man who loses his way. He's a filmmaker like me, and he forgets for a moment just what he was set on Earth to do. Fortunately, he finds his way back. That can happen, Mac. Check it out.
Hey, there's a town up ahead. Let's get off and see what happens.
What town is it?
I don't know. I suppose it's Hollywood.
The classical Hollywood style has not ended. It continues in most popular American cinema, and most popular cinema in the world obeys the guidelines laid down in the classical system.
I don't think you would find that the thinking about how to make a scene play has changed. What's changed is are the tools with which you work.
I think that so-called classical style from the 30s, 40s, from the golden age of cinema, we use it every day. I mean, elements of that style. We're doing it with modern tools, we're doing it with color film, we're doing it with modern lenses, and as a result we get a different effect. But the heart of the technique was always there. I think the nature of filmmaking is that you're always experimenting. If you ever know it all, you're finished. You're always trying to do something that you've never done before, or something maybe you attempted and didn't think you did that well.
You sort of have to keep the train, if you excuse the expression, rolling forward all the time. And within that forward movement, to try to be creating the thing that you had in your mind. The fun of it is living on some kind of edge, moment to moment, and saying, well, we're committing now. This is how we're going to see this scene. When I talk to an actress or an actor and they say to me, what is it that's happening here? What should I be? We're making finely calibrated judgments about how that thing should be played. And it matters. It matters what expression is on Mary McDonnell's face when she looks after that train. And I won't be able to change it once I commit to it. And I may be wrong on the day at Union Station for what I need 2 months later in the cutting room. And that is the part that sort of energizes you. That's what makes movies different from theater, where you can go back the next night and change it. And there's something about that heightened reality that is what makes movies the excitement that they are, and why movies are different from everything, and why people pour out on the weekends and see what came out of that. There's some added juice that comes from that process.
Go back to the beginning.
I'm the audience, in a sense. I'm the audience. And I sit there and I react to the actors' performances as the audience.
Everybody.
Stand by, please.
And let's hit the train, please.
And